I'm Patrick Lippert, and this is my full stack portfolio project called Bad Panda. It's a fictitious tattoo shop that utilizes React and Redux for its front-end web system, and also has Express and MongoDB on the back end. The site has features that are expected from any professional tattoo shop, but it also introduces some innovative new features that educate the user about tattoo styles, and it also helps match the prospective client with one of their artists. On the front screen, you'll see the company's main value selling points. You learn about the shop, and they learn a little bit about you. Also, there are some images of the shop interior and exterior to help represent the standards and style of the business. Note that almost all of the data throughout the site, images included, are served up by the back-end system so that dynamic changes can be made without impacting the front-end experience. If we come over here to the Artist tab, we'll get some introductions to our artists. Bad Panda is configured with 8 unique artists that have individual strengths and skills. Here you'll be introduced to their personalities and learn a little bit about them. You can click on the optional links to go to their gallery view, but another way is to come here to the drop down for artist galleries. And here's a bunch of tab views of each of them here. I can go through and select. Another thing I can do is I can go to the style gallery and get an idea of what the current trends are in tattooing. And from here I can click and go into a lightbox image view. I can actually hit the play button and have it auto-play all of the images in the gallery. Some other areas of note are the shopping page, of course, for merchandise. There's a news page, which we have dynamically loaded news articles and promotions going on in the shop, as well as a carousel down below with reviews from tattoo magazines. Frequently asked questions page with stock responses, and a contact sheet where you can send a message to perhaps schedule an appointment. It does go to the back end where it is recorded. Perhaps the most powerful feature of the application is under the Matcher. Here's where I get to do a questionnaire telling a little bit about my tattoo experience. I'm going to go ahead and select some things I'd like to get, like a medium-sized tattoo. I'd like it on my calf, and I'd like the theme to be about my pet with new school. And I'll select the date and say the 4th of July to get this done. And for this, I would expect that some of the artists like Dwayne would come back, and sure enough, here he is here, because he's our specialist in new school. I got a rating score here for him. He's 93% match, and I show the top criteria of why he was selected. And you'll see the next runner-up is here and his criteria as well. The server responded with this information. I'll go ahead and close that. Let's change some criteria. Let's go ahead, instead of new school, let's choose that we want to do a Japanese tattoo. And let's do it with maybe wildlife, because I'm going to be thinking about a koi tattoo. I'll submit this. And different artists pop up. And again, here we got Tommy and we've got Lauren, who are both the Japanese style specialists of the shop. You will see a note on her that she was not available for the date I selected, so I'm going to have to contact her and think about something else there. But this is a powerful feature using our application, which we'll take a look at now. As you can see on the Express server side, there are many endpoints for the tattoo site. The bulk of the traffic comes from GET requests for the data that's used to render each of the views in the React app. One of the most interesting endpoints is under /match. Let's have a quick look at the schema here in the models document. Each artist performed a self-evaluation where they rated their strengths from 0 to 100 for each possible answer that a client could enter on the website's questionnaire form. That data is stored here as arrays for each artist. Note that I also use the object ID up here of the artist as a reference. I'll populate that later to return the data back to the client. Going to Match Router, we can see how post requests are handled. On the other end, the client application made the request using Redux and a call to fetch, and it put the contents of the user's questionnaire form into the request body. The Express server is implementing business logic to find the best artist matches here. It first uses find to obtain all the artist match documents from MongoDB. I next perform a loop over each of these artist match evaluation documents using a for each method. Then for each of the 12 questions, I pull out the artist's self-score and prepare a note about how the artist fared. At the bottom, I prepare a final grade for the artist, but note that I allow for extra weighting to be applied to certain scores. For example, I currently give tattoo style 3 times more importance than the other fields when calculating the final number. You'll see it up here in this array. This allows me also to adjust the algorithm. Perhaps the tattoo theme might be more important later on. I can put more weighting on that. After that, I do a final check here to see if the requested appointment date conflicts with what the artist has already blocked out in their self-questionnaire. And then I'll go on to the end here. I will sort them in descending order. I want to have the highest rated artist, and then I'll prepare a slice of 2. I'll send the final 2 artists back down to the client in this final result set. There were a few challenges in bringing this whole project together. On the back end, the match endpoints were the most difficult to implement. In our coursework, we used post endpoints to commit data to MongoDB. In my use case, I needed to post the contents of the match form to the server, but I didn't want to commit this data to the database. Instead, I wanted to use the techniques that we typically saw in GET endpoints to pull the artist information out and return a different type of response. This took a little trial and error to get just right. The client-side React app was also challenging. It started off as a bootstrap website with 9 individual pages. I used my week off between React and the React Native course to hunker down and migrate to React with React. The transition to React Router and to component design required a lot of attention. However, it paid off in code size. The code for my gallery pages alone got reduced by 75%, thanks to separating out the data into the state and creating a dynamic way to map the tab information. One final note about the front end. The presentation is 100% driven by data from the back end, meaning there are no hard-coded divs or images, fields like that are hard-coded into the page. Similarly, over in the artist or style galleries, these tabs are not hardwired. This is super handy just in case one artist leaves or joins the shop. All you have to do if someone leaves is drop the artist document from the back end, the artist vanishes from the artist page, and their site and gallery tab disappears over here. Adding a new artist is just as simple. Thanks for having a look at my site.